Margaret was a classmate of Dennis and ours at Unity School, and we were friends there and continued the friendship over the miles, although it doesn't seem like we get together as often. So I asked Dan Sproul if he would let me facilitate today. It was his turn, but I wanted to personally welcome Margaret.
Oh, thank you.
Margaret, Margaret lives in Northern California, so she had to get up early today to join us. She's she's like we were ordained at Unity Institute in 2010. She served many ministries in the Bay Area as speaker, teacher, and consultant. She also serves as minister for Unity of Santa Cruz and Unity of Santa Barbara. Around 2018, she retired from those ministries. For 8 years, she volunteers as a grief counselor and as a hospice worker for Hospices Services of Lake County. She's currently undertaking diverse projects, taking watercolor classes, getting ideas for creative writing projects, and exploring a new way of being. Today, her talk title is Margaret, Take It Away.
Is what?
I was looking for my notes. I was
Oh,
trying to
okay. I
find
thought you were talking to me.
navigating our inward peak is her talk title today. And she has modified it as of yesterday or today. So we're going to have a little different procedure. Maybe she'd like to tell you a little bit about that so you know what to expect.
Want me to do that now? Okay. Well, basically, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a talk, but right as I was about to fall asleep, I was guided by Spirit to do a lot of this as a guided meditation. So we will be doing a guided meditation and a couple poems in there. So that's going to be the talk. So you will be guided though, every step of the way.
Thank you, Margaret. Proceed.
Oh, is it my turn now? Okay.
Yep.
That was quick. No, I'm used to places where they have a much longer, it really goes on for a long time. So I was like, wow, okay.
Well,
So,
we find that we have so much to talk about. We haven't added extra musical interludes because then we run
okay.
awfully late.
Okay, well, I am going to start my timer to make sure that I am not going to go over. And so, first of all, good morning, everyone. It's really wonderful and lovely to be here and to see you all again. And I am going to start my talk now. It's the first time I've done one without PowerPoint for a while. So the talk title today is Navigating the Inward Sea. And I'm going to start with wise words from an unknown source. Some people have attributed to this to various people, but the truth is nobody knows who wrote this. But this moment that mankind is experiencing now can be seen either as a door or a hole. The decision to fall into the hole or go through the door is yours. If you absorb information 24 hours a day with negative energy, constantly nervous and pessimistic, you will fall into this hole. But if you take the opportunity to look at yourself, use the time to rethink life and death, to care for yourself and others, you are walking through the portal. So keep your home, keep your body safe, connect with your spiritual home. When you take care of yourself, you take care of everyone else. Don't underestimate the spiritual dimension of this crisis. Take the perspective of an eagle that sees everything from above with a broader perspective. There is a social issue in this crisis, but also a spiritual issue. They both go hand in hand. Without the social dimension, we fall into bigotry. Without the spiritual dimension, we perish in pessimism and meaninglessness. You are ready to pass this crisis. Pack your toolbox and use all the tools at your disposal. So what I'm referring to is what is going on in our country right now. Some people might be disturbed by it. I know I am. I know a lot of people who are, and probably some that aren't. But the last time we were going through similar things, I fell in the hole, and I do not want to do that again. I will not lose myself that way again. I will not be overwhelmed and numb. I will not go through that again. So I am bound and determined to use this for good and to grow and to expand and to find out what is mine to do. And so that's kind of what this is about today. Because we have control over our thoughts and how our perspectives are shaped. We can choose what is useful and life-affirming, and we can limit what we allow in, not to escape, but as protection, self-protection. One of my heroes, I don't know if you've heard of her, Krista Tippett, and she has, for many, many, many years, had a podcast called On Being. And if you haven't experienced this, she's wonderful. She has so many interesting people. But when she was talking about what is going on right now, she said, we're muting our news feeds because the stories they tell are not just informing us, but shaping us, taking hold of our minds and hearts and nervous systems and limiting or galvanizing forces of hope and despair, groundedness and action. We are called to help repair the world that we can see and touch. And that was the idea of Tikkun Olam, which was a whole nother talk I did on repairing the world, and it comes from Judaism. So right now I feel we are really in a very turbulent time, and so we try to ground ourselves with what's helpful, and we're vigilant in our self-awareness because it's easy to fall into some bad habits of thinking, some ways of letting unkindness come into our consciousness. And it's my belief that we need to keep our consciousness at a higher level to hold the high watch, I guess is the way I would put it. So today I would like to start with my inspiration for this talk with Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman, who was a theologian, an author, an activist, and he was also a spiritual mentor to Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King. So the title I have chosen was inspired by his book, Meditations of the Heart. And the beginning of the book starts with this passage, the inward sea. There is in every person an inward sea, and in that sea there is an island, and on that island there is an altar. And standing guard before that altar is the angel with a flaming sword. Nothing can get by the angel to be placed upon that altar unless it has the mark of your inner authority. Nothing passes the angel with the flaming sword to be placed upon your altar unless it be a part of the fluid area of your consent. This is your crucial link with the eternal. And it is a marvelous book if you want to get, and I will show it here, Meditations of the Heart by Howard Thurman. So when we think about it, for me, our inner life is like a sea. You know, sometimes we have waves of grief or joy or anger or peace, but how we navigate the inner sea determines not only our happiness and inner peace, but how we serve other beings on this planet and how we move in the world. So this island to me, and you know, maybe in our discussion afterwards, I would love to hear what it means to you. But to me, it's where our truth resides, all of it, where we're honest, humble, and authentic. It's where we go to face ourselves and fortify ourselves when the inner seas are turbulent. And it is my belief that I need to ground myself in what is eternal and what is true, so I can listen to, accept, and act upon my divine guidance. Because right now, it's easy to be pulled in all different directions because there are people who are creating chaos. And as a psychologist said, wish I had their name, that when we're constantly in overwhelm, we become passive and depressed. And so for those of us who refuse to let that happen, we need tools, we need ways to anchor ourselves in truth, in strength, and in courage. And Howard Thurman also writes, There is something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, you will spend all of your life on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. So we don't want to be pulled in different directions. We don't want other people to have authority over our lives, especially how we move and be in the world. So to quote another one, another way, the only way as far as I'm concerned, and this is from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. I have decided to stick to love because hate is too great a burden to bear. So again, we go back to the altar. What is our core value? What is it that no matter what, we always end up going back to? For some people, it's justice. For some people, it's compassion and love. For some, it may be something more negative that they constantly go back to. But I think it's really up to us as, and I think we're all light workers, for us as light workers to remain really grounded and centered in truth, and to center ourselves in the love that we know is God, and to move and act from that place so that we are not constantly being pushed and pulled. And so what is most valuable to us, we place upon that altar. And it has to be true and it has to be authentic, or the angel with the flaming sword will not allow it. So let us take a journey. And I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And let's take 3 deep breaths, as deep as you are able to, whatever is comfortable for you. So we'll do the first one, in on 7, hold for 4, and if possible, out on 8. And another one. One more. So in your mind's eye, imagine yourself before a beautiful portal. It's gold, it's glimmering, it's absolutely gorgeous. And 2 beings of light are on either side of it. And they beckon for you to go through this portal and to know that you are perfectly safe, that you are guided, that you are protected. And as you go through this portal, you find yourself in this beautiful trail. There's beautiful trees and flowers. There's mountains in the distance. And as you walk along this trail, you keep going down further and further. And there's still beauty, but there's also some dead trees and some weeds. But the trail is interesting. There's a few rocks maybe in the path, so we have to be careful. But we keep going down, down, down. And we acknowledge that both the beauty and the not so beautiful are all part of this path that we are on. We don't judge it, we just acknowledge it. As we continue to walk, we finally see the shore of our inward sea. And at this point, be sure and notice what color is the water. It can be anything you want. For me, mine is kind of a iridescent blue and pink and gold. And you notice whether the waves are calm, whether there's just gentle waves lapping the shore, whether it's choppy, or whether it's truly turbulent, huge waves, a stormy sea. And remembering there is no right or wrong. This is your experience in this now moment. You are safe, and try not to judge. Just experience whatever it is you need to experience. And so as we continue to observe this inward sea, is there a sky? Or is it a really large grotto? This is up to you. These are all your choices. Just imagine it for just a moment. And allow yourself to feel it. Is there a breeze? To be totally present to whatever you have created. Now you need to determine how it is you're going to be in this sea, how you are going to approach the island. Maybe some of you see the island with the altar and the angel with the flaming sword. And maybe it is not yet visible to you. So are you going to swim? Do you need flippers? Is it going to be on a boat? Depending on your sea, your internal, inward sea, and the waves, whether they're big or whether they're calm, might determine how you find and arrive at the altar on the island of your making. And so you start to proceed to be immersed in this beautiful or treacherous water that is your inward sea. And maybe for me, I'm swimming. I am swimming because I like to swim. And I am swimming, and maybe you are sailing, maybe you are walking. It doesn't matter, whatever it is for you. And there ahead, you see the island. Again, an island of your own making. Whatever is on your island is okay. It can be beautiful, it can be creepy, it can be whatever you want it to be. But notice, are there trees? Are there flowers? Is it big? Is it little? And as you get closer, you see the altar. You see the angel with the flaming sword. And you know that you are divinely protected and divinely guided. And as you get closer and closer, you start to feel this enormous, immense, overwhelming love. Divine love guiding you, defining you. This beautiful, unconditional, powerful force of the universe, this deep, deep love. And so you arrive on the shore of your island, and you approach the altar with great reverence. The angel with the flaming sword nods. And you notice you have two pouches with you. One is beautiful and contains all of the things that you need in your toolkit to survive, to grow spiritually, to expand, to transform. Whatever those qualities are, you take a moment to really define what they are for you right now before you lay them on the altar, because they have to be true, they have to be authentic, or the angel will not allow it to be placed upon the altar. Again, it can be a quality, it can be a way of being. It's up to you. No wrong answers, no judgment. Then you take a deep breath and you notice there is another being of light at the altar. And it can be a teacher, it can be Jesus or Buddha, it can be an angel, it can be a fairy. It is up to you. Whatever calls to you in your deepest part of yourself, something that is important to you, that you trust, a being that you trust. And you take this other pouch and you open it and place all what that is within it on the altar. These are the things within us that need to be healed, that need to be acknowledged, and that need to be transformed based on our own spiritual path and what our heart truly desires. And so together with this being of light, we set the intention that we are willing and ready to transform whatever it is that's holding us back, whatever it is the fear, whatever it is the anger or the injustice, whatever it is that's keeping us from the peace within our souls, that peace that passes all understanding. And so we make an agreement with this other being of light that we do want to heal and we do want to transform. But it will be in our own time. But we know that this being of light will be there with us every step of the way, helping us to heal and transform, guiding us. But we make a commitment to listen and to follow. And so we give thanks for this moment in time to be able to see what feeds us and what prohibits us from growing. We know that we are divine beings of light and love, and that we all have an important purpose in this world. It doesn't have to be grand gestures, but just how we treat each other and how we move in the world. And so we bid the angel with the flaming sword and the divine being of light goodbye for now, until we meet again, which can be any time we want. We can always go to this place whenever we need to. It is where we find our strength, our hope, and our lessons. And as we make our way back to the trail, we go through the portal and we are back from our inner sanctuary to this one. And we give gratitude knowing that we do not have to be pushed and pulled by outer circumstances. We acknowledge our feelings. We acknowledge the effect they have on others and ourselves. We pray and hold in our hearts those who are suffering, and grounded in love and truth, we ask, how can I serve? How can I help alleviate the pain? And we know we will be guided. And so it is. And so we let it be. And when you're ready, please open your eyes.